been learning a lot about the power of attraction, and I've been going through a lot of changes throughout the year. And my career has been going it's pretty well dead right now. Going through a lot of indecisions. What I'm asking right now is, how can I get my abundance back in my life again? How can I get my career and get connected to my source, my inner spirit, so I can hear again, as I used to as a child? I remember listening and hearing and knowing, and now I really felt like I've lost that part, but I want to get it back. And there's a lot of voices going on in my head, and I want to quiet them. And I'm slowly but surely using the tools that you have taught, using the visualization, the gratitude, and everything else. I just started more and more every day, and I'm still not seeing the results yet. I'm believing and understanding, but it's not yet showing up. And I'm just really like to get some help on that. How can I get the abundance back and start believing and understanding?
It's a wonderful question. How can I stand where I am in this uncomfortable place and not be uncomfortable?
Yes.
And we say, well, it's kind of tricky, because you got to find a way to not be uncomfortable in this uncomfortable place. A woman said, I have arthritis in my hips and I'm in pain. How can I imagine a healthy body when my body hurts? And we said, you have to take the body as it is. It's where I'm at. It's just where I'm at. Mm-hmm. And realize that you can be where you are in a body that hurts and be afraid, or you can be where you are in a body that hurts and be hopeful. And the difference between fear and hope is the difference between resistance and allowing. The difference between fear and hope is the difference between recovery or not, you see. And so the thing that is interesting, the two subjects of physical wellness and financial abundance, those two subjects are the more difficult of all subjects, because you take your body nearly everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. And nearly everywhere you go with your body, money factors in some way. And so it's hard to ignore. And however you've been beating the drum is pretty active. In other words, when you think a thought, that thought vibrates, and when you think it often, it becomes a dominant vibration. And when it becomes a dominant vibration, it affects you profoundly. So your question is, how can I be where I am and be so aware of where I am and get somewhere else? And we say, you can't. You got to turn your attention to where you're going, which means you'll take your attention from where you are. And you say, yeah, but what I'm living keeps calling my attention back to where I am. And we say, we know it does, but every time you turn your attention again and turn your attention again, before long, you begin to feel slightly better. And when you feel slightly better, then you're standing in a new place, and the entire universe responds to you slightly different. So things begin to improve a little bit. And the more you do it, the better it gets. We visited with a woman one day who is an artist, a really wonderful artist. And she lived on the East Coast, moved to the West Coast. She thought she could find some work in Hollywood with her art. But she no sooner got there than someone broke into her car and stole her portfolio. So now she says, I'm an artist with nothing to show. And we said, well, that's just crazy talk. Because you are an artist. Mm-hmm. You are an artist. You are the culmination of all that you have ever painted. And just because you don't have that old portfolio to drag around and say, I used to be that, 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 you have the vibrational culmination of all that you are. And that's what you're radiating to the boundaries of the universe, you see. So you can recapture that vibration of abundance and go far beyond it. You just have to stop putting your nose so closely to what is and get it more on where you're going. There are two processes that we recommend. The first is, really, and we're not kidding about this, put $100 in your pocket and all day long notice how much fun it would be to spend it for that and 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 that. I could have 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 that. Someone said, Abraham, you haven't been physical lately. $100 doesn't go very far.
That's true.
And we said, but if you spend it $100 1,000 times today, you've spent $100,000, and that goes a long way in changing the vibration of your being, you see. As you do something like that, you begin to shift vibrationally. And as you shift vibrationally, things shift for you. And suddenly, something happens that you didn't necessarily know how it would come, when it would come, who would bring it, or where it would be. But when you begin to find the feeling place of prosperity, prosperity has to come to you. It just has to come. And this is the part we love telling you the most. During this dry spell, the contrast has put so much abundance in your vibrational escrow. In other words, there's more there now than ever before. And as you relax and trust the process, we know that word must be annoying.
Yes.
But we we've done such a good sales job today, haven't we? Haven't we convinced you of the stream? Don't you know who you really are? Can't you feel that your life has caused an amassing of power? Can't you feel that power? And we know you can, because if you're feeling joyful, you can really feel the power. And if you're feeling awful, you can really feel the power. Mm-hmm. In other words, whether you feel really good or really bad, it's because your stream is moving and you have awareness of the stream. And now you have awareness of the stream, just turn and go with it as often as you can. Did you feel your body jerk just now? Yes. That's confirmation of your inner being saying the thought you just thought is in absolute vibrational alignment with what the inner being part of you knows to be. In other words, that's your indication that you've got it. So just turn as often as you can. Now we want to hear from you, and we'll offer some too. Give us your version of downstream commentary relative to the specific subject of your financial abundance.
I am very wealthy. I have many ideas in my hands right now. I'm able to accomplish them and make them happen, and help myself and help many people.
All right, now as we hear you say that, and we're getting a beat on your vibration as you say that, and when you say, I'm a very wealthy person, we didn't feel a real vibrational match to those words. Okay. It sounds like something you plan on doing, and it sounds like something that you want to be, but we felt a little bit of a disconnect with some of those words. And so offer some words that are more about where, in other words, what that sounded like to us. And we asked for it, and you did just fine. But what that sounded like to us is that you put your boat in the stream, and it's not where you want it to be. And so you tried to speak about it more as you wanted it to be. And we want you, instead, to give us commentary that lets us know that you're okay with where you put your boat in. In other words, can you feel the difference? Because when you put your boat in and you're talking about everything that's coming and how rich you are when you know you're not and all of that stuff,
yes,
then it's more upstream than it is downstream. But when you talk in real terms about where you really are, and it feels all right about where you are, when you talk in terms of knowing the laws and knowing what's over there and knowing that you're doing it right, when you talk like that, now your resistance is releasing and you turn and go with the stream. Did you hear that distinction? It's a big one, and it's meaningful to almost everyone relative to the subject of money. It's making peace with where I am relative to money. So begin again with that mindset.
Then I see myself I am in front of 10,000 people teaching what I love, and they are standing up and applauding that, and from that I am wealthy and able to help others.
All right, now this is really good, because this is a picture of where you're going,
yes,
and it's a picture of what you want, but still we feel a disconnect between where you are. You're still reaching for something. It still sort of feels like goal setting, and there's something sort of upstream about it. So keep going. In other words, we want you to hold those visions, but we want you somehow to do a little bit more peacemaking with where you are in relationship with where you're going. Can you feel this?
Okay.
I've been living a really good life, and my life has caused me to launch lots of rockets of desires, and I wouldn't give up any of that for what it has put in my vibrational escrow. And I'm happy to be putting my boat in right where it is. And even though it's not where I want to always be, it's just fine, and I'm so looking forward to it getting better. And I like who I am. And I like what life has caused me to become. I like the essence of who I am. And I like the physical being that I am. And I like the contrast that I've lived. And I like the desires that are alive within me. I like this life. And I like where I am so far. And I'm looking forward to what's coming. Can you feel that?
Wow.
That's just downstream, downstream, downstream. And when you feel like that, all that stuff that's in vibrational escrow, you have full and complete access to. When you feel like that, it's just a matter of minutes, hours, days before things start popping loose for you, you see. Isn't that interesting? That little bit of reaching for the way I feel and shifting my vibration. That's all it takes. There's such leverage in vibration. And action is so slow.
Yes.
Enough?
Yes. Thank you very much. Bless you.